We've been joined by the country's Chief Minister, Dr. David Moinina Senge, who's here to talk about the outcome of the 2025 Ministerial Performance Contract, among other things. Would also be looking at recent current issues in governance and politics, particularly. Good morning, Chief Minister. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Let's start with the ministerial performance. You've been a part of that session with the ministers. What's the outcome? How have the ministries performed?
Thank you very much. It's a really good question. I would like to let you know that the ministries have done really well. Governance has done well. But before, I want to highlight a couple of things. His Excellency the President said he wants efficiency in government. He wants us to be productive. Last year was the year of accelerated delivery, so we needed to be more efficient. And he also says he wants us to be transparent, meaning the things that we do, we must let citizens know, citizens must engage us. And the third component is we must be connected and engaging with the citizens. So the performance contract itself feeds into efficiency, an indication of efficiency, accountability to the citizens, and transparency and connectedness. When we started this performance contracting many years ago, I was at the Ministry of Education, actually, and I had won the best ministry. We had won the best ministry award when I was at Ministry of Education. And the indicators changed, evolved, but they generally speak about 17 indicators. There are indicators in 5 categories: policy and legislation, so cabinet papers, implementation of those cabinet conclusions, agreements, that's how governments run, ministries run. Second is administration and management. So are you having weekly leadership meetings? Are you having bi-weekly management meetings? Because it's important. We speak here all the time about ministers and deputy ministers not working, or permanent secretaries or directors, and it's important. An indication of whether you're working is whether you're meeting, and with evidence. The third category is on service delivery. The strategic plan is derived from the National Development Plan. The annual work plan is derived from the National Development Plan. And so we engage to see what percentage of your annual work plan did you implement, how many innovations, service delivery innovations did you have. Then we speak about financial stewardship. Domestic revenue mobilization is important. We live in a very complicated, complex world. Yes, we can bring in donor money, but we want you to also raise money locally through your MDAs, through partnerships. We want you to get international aid appropriation. Different people can write grants, can write reports. And it's not just about how much money you brought, but how much percentage of that you utilize, because we have projects that are stalling, and so we measure that. And the final one is on accountability and corruption eradication. Audit queries are really important, and we measure, we set a really high bar that you must implement or respond to 80% of audit queries from the preceding year. And we ask audit services Sierra Leone to give us the data. We also ask about integrity committee meetings. These look at corruption and just integrity within. We set a minimum of 4, so quarterly, and we engage. And then the other one is compliance with procurement. So these make up the indicators and the categories that we evaluate, and then we go through very specific ministries on their own targets. So how did we do? I think this year, cumulatively, government had about 89 cabinet papers. Service delivery charter, 53%. We set a minimum of 50%. The one that we're really happy about is with the compliance with procurement and audits. And there we were a range from 70 to 76.9% across those ones. Appropriation and citizen engagement, lots of citizen engagement. Overall, for all ministries, across those indicators, we have minimum targets, and what you get times 100. Government got about 78%, not about 78%. And we also have clusters that exist in there. So government listened to President Bill last year that he wanted accelerated delivery, and that was evident in our collective score.
Which ministries are the best performing and the least or worst performing?
So best performing here is people who are meeting their targets, yeah, and then the ones on the other end of the spectrum are those who have some more to go, and we can break that down. Each one of these is broken down. Our Ministry of Agriculture got 100%. That means their minimum targets, they met 100% of their minimum targets. The ones in the 90s, water resources, 93.7, foreign affairs, 92.8, lands, housing, and country planning, 92.7, fisheries and marine resources, 91.4, transport and aviation, 90.7, AG, Ministry of Justice, 90.7, and mines and mineral resources, 90.7. The ones on the lower end, let's say below 70%, local government and community affairs, 69.3, gender and children's affairs, 69.0, labor and social security, 67.5, sports, 67.3, energy, 66, public administration, 64.9, basic and senior secondary education, 62.4, tourism and culture, 55.8, and then works and public assets, 52.1.
Now, the thing about this is you have the data based on the indications you highlighted, used to measure them, plus you have the realities, or versus you have the realities on the ground. You would look at, let's put two ministries at play here. Tourism, for example, with all from the people's perspective. Last year, they had a lot of activities, the One Nation, a lot of activities you would see, a lot of initiatives, promoting tourism here and there. Then they didn't perform well. On the flip side, you see a ministry like Water Resources, despite the challenges of people still to get access to water, you begin to wonder, how come Water Resources, for example, performed well when the reality on the ground for people is access to water remains a challenge? Explain these indicators, because these are the reasons why people say we have beautiful data, but it's not reflective in the lives of the ordinary people.
Yeah, it's a really important point. Governance is not a singular point. Governance is about delivery and a trend and a projection. We set a target. Because water problems are so bad historically and baseline, the Guma was built for 200,000 people. Now we are 1 million, above 1 million people when the dam. Even though Guma Valley has built new dams, it is still not going to be enough readily to provide water for 2 million people because it grew so rapidly and with all the lakes. That doesn't mean that the Ministry of Water does not have a strategic plan, an annual work plan. They are not meeting, they are not implementing donor projects. The Ministry of Water just developed a compact at the World Bank, which they say is one of the best compacts, and they developed a water project. They are extending water to 7 cities across the country. It is true that there is no water that comes to my house. There is limited water. And it is true that they are bringing water to 6 different towns across the country. It is true that there is water leakage and there is waste of water in other parts. And it is also true that they are raising money to reform Salwako and those things, and that they are meeting and they are developing strategic plans. It is true that there is hunger. There is hunger index is not the number of extremely hungry people is not 0%. But it is also true that we have fewer hungry people, more hungry people today than we had last year. So it's the point about engaging with citizens is to say the ministries are working hard to get to the point where by 2039 Sierra Leone will be a middle income country.
How did the Ministry of Agriculture score 100?
Oh, it's simple. It's because their compliance, they met 80% of their procurement in compliance. Citizen engagement that they had, they were at 80%, well above the 50% trademark. They brought integrity committee meetings. They had 10. The minimum is 4. Cabinet conclusions, they met the targets. And in their annual and strategic work plan, actually, when you look at the National Development Plan, which is also public and it has indicators, it tells us every year what their target is. Their target is how many hectares of land they should have under cultivation. Their target is how they are reducing importation. Their target is how much they are improving yields and all of this. And they are meeting those targets year on year. It doesn't mean that they've solved hunger. They have not solved hunger. It just means that 2025, the targets that we gave them, that they committed to, that is in the National Development Plan, they met those targets, and we're truly proud and happy so if they continue to meet those targets, the meaning of this is that hunger will come down. If they continue to work as hard and meet those targets, then we will deliver on those activities. This just shows that we are delivering now through agriculture. Should they do more? Yes, they shouldn't be satisfied with the minimum. If they sent, they should raise more money. They brought a couple $100 million last year. Will we be happy if they bring more? Absolutely.
One of the areas that government, sort of loses revenue or spends excessively in areas where they could have saved is in the area of collaboration. An example could be, you would see that roads would be constructed. Next thing you know, EDSA is coming, GUMA is coming to dig the tar just to pass pipes. And then it's going to cost the road company another set of resources to be able to cover what they dug, when they could have easily collaborated, passed their pipes in time before the roads are tarred or paved. Another area is some of these ministries, there are a lot of maybe I would say similarities in service delivery or their responsibilities. Collaboration remains a challenge, and they have budgets for certain things. When if they collaborate, it could be able to save resources, as opposed to even some of the other private individuals or companies that go to benefit from multiple MDAs to perform similar or same service. How did we do last year in the area of collaboration amongst MDAs?
It's a really good question. Collaboration is not an indicator, but the question you're raising is to say, well, maybe we should have some indicator that speak about collaboration, and I duly note that. However, my office and cabinet, so that's why cabinet papers is one. Cabinet is where we come up with policies, regulations, laws. It's the perfect collaboration room. And one indicator in a way that speaks to whether you're collaborating. Collaboration is by sharing and getting opinions on those as well. Is through cabinet. But I'll give you an example because you mentioned road. The Pujan road is almost done. This is from the Bandajuma to Pujan. It took forever, but it's being done. We had to get the roads delayed at some point because we were waiting for Salwako to go and run pipes and lay pipes so that we don't have the same problem that you were having to move them. And it also delayed because we wanted EDSA had to go to move lines and transmission and all of that. So it does happen. It needs to happen more. In new roads, it happens now where if you also check the road on going to Sea Coach, the Mauritania road, there's some coordination, and it sometimes leads to delays, but those are important things to resolve when you're making those roads.
Well, Mr. Minister, you can agree with me that, these scores are purely based on administrative gains rather than, the actual outcome, as Phoebe has asked before, of the ministries themselves. I mean, if you look at the Ministry of Agriculture scoring 100%, some of the indicators here are meetings, cabinet papers, but they do not really measure the agricultural productivity. And I know you've mentioned that if they continue on this trajectory, the productivity will come at the end of the day. But this is like setting a benchmark for yourself to say, for instance, let's look at, in a classroom setting, those pupils who are coming to school on time. that doesn't mean that they are going to pass their exams. It just means they are punctual. So it's like the rationale behind this. Just because meetings are called, procurement processes are followed, hasn't translated into solving the hunger issue.
So you say if I will agree with you, I do not agree with you. But for the people who don't come, any good student who comes on time, who's punctual and who does not get late is likely to do better in the performance in their
But it does not guarantee
it doesn't guarantee
pass or failure.
It doesn't guarantee, but they are likely to participate and to contribute to the health and wealth of the class, and they are likely to do well. So we shouldn't, people are not for the cake. We shouldn't make it's an important indicator that you're showing up, you're participating, you're giving cabinet papers. But I disagree with you, because in the service delivery indicator I mentioned here that develop and implement annual work plan. Your annual work plan is focused on specific tangibles that you're delivering. Your strategic plan, revenue mobilization is very specific. Agreements that you're signing is impact. Cabinet conclusions implemented. So take, for example, Ministry of Agriculture. They brought a cocoa policy last year. Do you know what that meant? The cocoa policy that they brought led to, I think, $203 million of a cocoa project that they have now that is being implemented. They brought a cocoa policy just now that said we should have a centralized cocoa board, commodities board. The implication is we're working with those cocoa importers exporters today to define and to make sure that we are managing our forex and all of that. So cabinet papers are not trivial. Cabinet papers are what leads to laws, they are what leads to acts, they are what leads to improving and modifying them. They are not everywhere, around every government centers on cabinet and cabinet papers and cabinet conclusions, but we track the implementation of it as well. But agriculture is actually one of those where a cabinet paper on cocoa is linked to money, hundreds of millions that they brought, which is affecting now what we are doing with the private sector and the farmers. So it does have an effect. Here's another paper that agriculture brought last year. They brought a paper that said that government should have institutional feeding, that school feeding must be local, homegrown school feeding. The impact of that is that World WFP and government increased the number of school feeding local production from 10% to 30%. It has a direct impact on young people, Usmania and the council in Kono. All their rice that they are making in Kono, these young people, is being bought and paid for by the WFP to feed the children of Kono. That's from cabinet paper that has an impact on the farm. So I disagree with you.
You disagree with me, but let's look at where you were. The Ministry of Basic Education performed fairly good. Let's look at it critically. You left that ministry, and from this assessment, I can say the ministry is falling, scoring between 60 to 69%. The ministry's local government, gender, labor, sports, energy, public administration, and then basic education. When I look at the data of the reports, you can see, even though it didn't capture issue of literacy rate, exam performance, school completion rate, but administratively again, why is it that a ministry that you won the best minister of, that you were in, and just left, and now is the chief minister you are also overseeing, has performed badly when it comes to administrative aspects?
I think that my job is to support ministries. My job is not to do the work of ministries. Before I was at Ministry of Basic, there was a minister. And I went there and I did what I had to do. And to your point, it wasn't just about winning world's best minister. When I was at Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Education won the Best Ministry Award in the performance contract that was evaluated by Professor Francis at the time, and the president signed. Last year, the Ministry of Justice was one of the least performing. This year, it's one of the top performing. I think people respond differently to different leadership. But if you take audit queries, for example, again, everybody's different. And now I get audited we know, and I've spoken here about audits. We expect response to audits to be minimum 80%. Basic education was 50%, internal affairs 40%, tourism was 50%. So if tourism is hosting events, which is great, but we expect that they are responding to audit queries as well. It's not that you can walk and chew gum. You can go and have amazing events but we want you to respond to audit queries. And many people, actually, audit queries is one of those I'm really proud of the government for, because over the last couple of years, we really hold each other accountable. Ministry of, here's an example. Ministry of Works and Public Assets, overall, is at 52.1%, the least performing. But on audit queries, they responded to 100% of the audit queries. So it's fantastic. They're a good example, and that's why we must disaggregate. But are they having senior management meetings and giving evidence? Are they doing any one of those indicators, raising revenue? Are they bringing more cabinet papers? It doesn't mean that it's all hell when their overall performance is where it is. But I'm proud of them. But it's not my job to be proud or not proud. But in this case, I'm happy that when you look at the disaggregated indicators, they did 100% in audit queries. So on MBSSE, I'm happy you mentioned something. The indicators for pass rates, the indicators for gross enrollment rates, the indicators for inclusion, the indicators for school feeding, which are embedded within the service delivery, which is whether that's your job. We expect you to do your job. We expect you to meet those targets in the National Development Plan. Are you engaging with the annual work plan? Are you meeting those targets that are there? That's also there. And at the same time, we want you to meet senior management. We want you to raise revenue and bring money. Education is an area that requires lots of money. It's an area that they didn't do well last year in terms of revenue mobilization. And I don't sit and pick and choose. There's a team that works with the teams in ministries, and they bring evidence and they sit and review those evidence, and it comes up. And I'll tell you, we send each one of these drafts back to the ministries multiple times.
But aren't you concerned that you have ministries that are performing very well in terms of meeting up with these indicators, and then others are not performing well at all? And you are in supervisory role, of those ministries. Aren't you concerned?
As I mentioned to you last year, water resources, I think they may have, AG's office did not do as well last year. And we sat with them and we engaged with them, and this time they are one of the top performing ministries, above 90%. So we are concerned. We sit with ministries, we engage with them, we get feedback from them, and we try to make sure that they are delivering for the people of the country. And I think the reason why we are transparent with all of this process is because we want citizens to care and to take responsibility and accountability, and for the ministries to understand that they have a responsibility to engage with citizens as well on these indicators.
Mr. Minister, when I look at this report, three consistent methodological weaknesses appear to me across all 29 ministries. The first one is activity bias. Performance indicators mainly focus on meetings, agreements, engagements, innovations, and not necessarily outcomes. And then documentation, the evaluation relies on reports, documentation, and internal submissions.
Sure.
And then for lack of citizens' impact measurement, none of the ministries are assessed using poverty reduction, service delivery outcomes, and citizen satisfaction survey. This would have captured, this report more, to have even though this was the target given to individual ministries. But if administratively some are performing well and some are not performing, and then Phoebe was talking about the outcome. When you look at the output, even though administratively, for example, Ministry of Tourism might have faulted in some of those indicators, but you can point to their output and say, no, even though they haven't met with these administrative indicators, they actually did well in their performance.
Again, I think that the data does not lie. If I look at the data here, I disagree with you. Cabinet papers number, we care about that. But the next one after that is cabinet conclusions implemented. Implementation is direct impact. This is not just number of cabinet papers. We're talking about implementation. Agreement signed. Immediately under that, we talk about agreements implemented. This impact. So this is 50-50 here.
So some ministries signed but didn't follow up with those agreements that they signed.
Yes, and it's there. Yes, and all of that is accounted for.
Our heads going to roll because of this.
Heads ruling is working with those ministries, holding them accountable, telling them His Excellency does what His Excellency does. My job is to work with ministries to improve coordination, to improve collaboration, to make sure that they are delivering on this. Here, we speak about donor project utilized. It's about impact. We talk about compliance with procurement procedures. It's directly felt. It's impact. So I really don't agree with you that it's just administrative. The administrative things are there. They are necessary. They are indication of government running. In private sector institutions, people hold meetings regularly, weekly, however, management meetings, stand-up. Let's not trivialize administrative functions of government. That's what government does. Bureaucracy can be bad, but bureaucracy is how government runs. It's effective. And you want effective bureaucracy. But it's not compliant with strategic plan, work plan, service charter, implement. So it's develop and implement. The indicators, we can have many indicators. We can have 1,000 indicators. But these ones, we feel are measuring policy and strategy, administration and management, service delivery, financial stewardship, accountability, and corruption. And one thing I want to focus on, if you compare 2024 and 2025, 2025, 78% overall, 2024, 48%. When we published it last year, and people said, oh, you're not doing well. We say yes. The year, and then President Bill said accelerated delivery based on that. Heads rolling, President Bill said. We saw that immediately happen here in terms of how people, and if you go to each one of those indicators, one of the areas that we did that I'm again super excited about in the accountability and corruption eradication, 2024 it was 46.4%. That's, are we following procurement rules? Are we responding to audit services? Are we having integrity? We doubled that. This year we are at 83.4%. That is telling us that the government is listening, that the government is understanding and they are responding. And to the point that you actually, that you made, 2025, the number of cabinet papers reduced from 2024. 2024 it was 103, 2025, 89. However, the cabinet conclusions implemented increased by 124%. So even though we had more cabinet conclusions in 2024, only 26% of them were implemented. But in 2025, we had 89 cabinet papers, but 58.8% of them were implemented. Same with the number of agreements. 2024, only 27% were implemented. 2025, 56.9%. What this tells us is the government is more efficient today. Government is listening and doing things, and it's not just about agreements that are being signed, but they are implementing it.
Before Phoebe comes in, Mr. Minister, this report, it seems or looks as if now the question and now mark.
No, me, Chief Minister, Chief Office of the Chief Minister, draw the question with, these are not, if you go to any other country, take Rwanda, right? So people always, and I think this is the part where people like to say, oh, look, Rwanda, then they do performance contracts, look what they publish. If you go look, me brother, are the same. It's the same indicators. But we just like to point out that other countries are doing, look at them. The Prime Minister in Rwanda is publishing performance contract. We clap for them. And when Sierra Leone does the same, using the same indicators, then we say, oh, but now they don't. But again, it's okay. That's what governance is for. But I'll tell you, one of the things, response to audit queries, 2024, only 37% of response. 2025, 76.9%. I want it to be 80% is the minimum. We should respond 100% to every audit queries, and we should implement them. Because audit queries is about improving delivery for services. Compliance with procurement procedures, 2024 it was 40.3, 2025 it is 72.1%. These are indicators that show that the government is listening, that the ministries are delivering, and that we're working towards meeting our commitments in 2039.
Now let's move to the politics of the land. You have repeatedly described the main opposition, APC, as unprogressive. And now some of their members are describing your behavior, your character, and how you describe them and how you work with them to be childish. How did you, as the country's chief minister, end up having this kind of relationship with the main opposition?
It's a very good question. I love everybody. I love Sierra Leone. I love Sierra Leoneans. I love people who are in leadership. But I love Sierra Leone more than individuals and individual institutions. My commitment to Sierra Leone and my commitment to the Constitution, my commitment to the people of Sierra Leone supersedes how a particular opposition member interacts with me. I think there's a lot of grandstanding and showing for show. All of these APC leaders and I, we talk all the time. When I mean all the time, all the time. On my birthday, many of them called me to wish me happy birthday and sent me a message. We have a direct personal relationship. But when it comes to government, if, in this case, Honorable Abdul Kagbo is on TV, I was in the room, by the way, when he said this, but there's TV recording in which Honorable Abdul Kagbo say, are they talk like woman, are they clap all, where are they argue like woman? He is disrespecting an entire gender, because me don't know how women they argue, me don't know how women they laugh, me don't know how, and like say that cost they cost me, for say how they argue like woman. If you say I get sense like woman, they gladdy, whatever that means. Not in secret. On TV, it say me they argue like woman. In WhatsApp groups and on social media, they call me Kadiatu. They are using homophobic slurs against me. They call me childish. He said it publicly. They call me whatever name they want to call me. I smile. I say, thank you very much, Honorable. I focus on something else.
But beyond the smile, do you agree that some of your behavior towards the main opposition is childish? It's childish.
How can I agree with that? I think that they are disgraceful comments, first of all, because that's the word that he had a problem with. Those comments are unfortunate and disgraceful. To refer to any human, forget me, David, saying a chief minister.
A few days ago, he was here. He's seated right where you're seated. He says that you've repeatedly used derogatory language against the APC, and that's very childish.
I say SLPP is progressive. Is that derogatory? I don't think they understand governance. Progressive is a political term. It literally is, if you open a political science book, there are progressive parties, there are conservative parties, there are liberal democratic parties. It's a political term. SLPP is a progressive social democratic party. The same Honorable Abdul Kagbo, when they asked him... But
that's not what they have a problem with. What they have a problem with is you saying the APC is unprogressive, which, by the way, is not a compliment.
They are not a progressive party, are they? The APC is not a progressive party. When I asked him, do you know what he said? He said they are a Pan-Africanist party because he was a police. What does that even mean? This is him. It's on record. Honorable Abdul Kagbo, when they said, what is SLPP? I said SLPP is a progressive social democratic party. Honorable Abdul Kagbo, what is APC? APC is a Pan-Africanist party. That's on him. Me, my job is to tell the people that SLPP is a progressive social democratic party. What that means is we're liberal. We remove death penalty. It means we care about social welfare. It means we care about social security trust. We just established the National Social Protection Agency. It means we're bringing in insurance for the people who are in informal sector. That's what it means to be progressive and social democratic. It means we care about free quality school education. That's what it means.
So this sort of...
so when they say, I'm sorry, so when he then says that I am childish, it's a reflection on him. Because I am speaking to the party. I say we are a progressive social democratic party. He says, so if you think you're unprogressive, that's on you. It's the opposite, by the way, of a progressive social democratic party. It's not unprogressive.
Now that toxic relationship you have with them, it has become toxic. They are now saying, with the negotiation ongoing with the government,
yes,
they would not accept you being put forward on behalf of government to continue the negotiation. They're asking that they want you off that negotiation list completely.
The unfortunate part for them.
How will that play out when you sit as the chief minister?
You should ask them, because the unfortunate part is His Excellency the President, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, has me today as the Chief Minister of Sierra Leone. And in my job as Chief Minister of Sierra Leone, I'm the chair of the Steering Committee on the Implementation of the Tripartite. In my job as Chief Minister of Sierra Leone, I am the chief negotiator on behalf of government. Too bad for them. Because if you look at it, and I say this, the Agreement for National Unity had 8 entities. They can come here and say we are not implementing them. I'll read through them and tell you how we've delivered on 100% of them. Resolution 1, National Address on Dialogue, Unity, Cohesion. President Bio did it. Samura Kamara did it. He's done it many, many times. We all can find that everywhere. There's evidence for it. Resolution 2, to end non-participation in governance. APC did. All of them came back and they ended non-participation. Resolution 3, constitution of a cross-party committee on electoral systems. That was done. It wasn't only done, we set up an independent consultant to review ECSL, and that was what led to the tripartite report, which came up with 80 resolutions and 4. Done. Resolution 4A, release of any persons arrested, detained. Apart from those who ran away when the coup took place, there was an independent committee, including Human Rights Commission, CSO, a judge, and they sat and released everybody who they thought needed to be released related to the party. Resolution 4B, discontinuation of any politically motivated court case. All of those cases were dropped. The ones that they will bring that are not politically motivated, there was a committee including NGOs and judges and all of that who did that. The mayor, her councillor had misbehaved at the airport. That wasn't politically motivated. It was a misbehavior and obstruction of justice. But that was still dropped, and they were celebrating it. Resolution 4C, support the resettlement of any political party internally. Done. They had given a list of 2 people or so. Go ask them where they are. Nobody is stopping anybody from going back. But government is not going to give money to build a house for anybody to say that's how we are supporting them. Done. Resolution 4D, the assumption of office, all elected people should be paid back their backlogs. We did. We paid them their backlogs. The councillors, they were paid. SLPP ones we hadn't paid. We made a mistake on them. Some of them are being paid now. But we did. Done. Resolution 4E, Parliament to address issues related to leadership and composition. They did it then, but now this is a new round. The composition of leadership in Parliament is based on the strength of Parliament. Resolution 5, institutionalization of inter-party dialogue framework. This is happening. Peace Commission does it. PPRC does it. Statistics Sierra Leone does it. APA does it. Resolution 6, re-engineer and rekindle relationship within national political ecosystems. Done. I talk to all of them. All of them I talk to. But
the problem they have is how you talk to them.
No, it's how. They abuse me online. Do I come and sit here and cry? They do that all the time. How many times have they not abused President Bio? Explicitly. Do we sit and cry? They are not babies. And this is the part. If you want to be a baby and not... If you go to Parliament in UK, Prime Minister's questions. When the Prime Minister is talking and the opposition leader, last week you hear them saying, coward, Disgrace. Are they saying, oh, I'm not going to go to Parliament anymore? This is a mature democracy. This is the health of our democracy. They are not babies. If you don't want to be in Parliament, if you don't want to be a politician who somebody tells is disgraceful or that your party is not progressive, don't play politics. This is, I don't understand the mentality.
Can you land on those, because it's very important on that, because oftentimes you put online that it's 100%, and there are really question marks about how did you arrive at saying all those have been implemented. Can you please land on those resolutions? Resolution
6, re-engineer and enkindle relationships. We have them. President Bill talks to all of them. I talk to them. I never have spoken to EBK in my life. I don't have, not never in my life. Recently, when I'm in government, I don't have his number. We don't have a relationship. But those above me, they do. I speak to the chairman and everybody else here. Resolution 7, to strictly condemn all citizens at home and abroad. We do that all the time. Resolution 8, establish the moral guarantors. Done. Is there anything that I have said here that's a lie?
So now the question is, you keep saying this has been implemented 100%. But going back to 3, that's where the tripartite committee
Let me read what 3 said.
Go ahead.
Constitution of a cross-party committee on electoral systems and management bodies review with a 3-way leadership. Was it constituted? Yes. Was a report done? Yes. Has that report been given to the institutions to implement? Yes. Has the electoral management things needed taken to Parliament? Yes. Is Parliament...
So that is exactly where the problem is. So it's on that 3 that you still have the tripartite committee report, which does contain some portions of it that is directly tied to the elections issues. Setting up a committee, again, with the instruments now in Parliament, setting up a committee later, appointment committee. President says he is committed to doing this. But the same constitutional amendment bill that is now in Parliament, which he has said he's committed to pushing the Minister of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice as well, their office is championing this and they're ready to see this to fruition. The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Ibrahim Tawakonte, was in our studio not long ago, seated where you're sitting. He says, by estimation, even by April of 2026, this could be done and dusted. But then that has not been done, and we still have President, though constitutionally allowed, still appointing a chairman for the ECSL, sort of undermining the very process that is ongoing now in Parliament. Do you not see how this is a problem and how this is connected to all of this?
Thank you for the question. There are 2 things here. Agreement for National Unity had an output. The output was a tripartite committee to deliver a report. Done. 100%. There's a second process, which is the tripartite committee report. So, is there anything that is in this agreement for national unity that has not been done? The answer is no. It's been done, 100%. Now to the point, and this is not me making it up, let them go and ask the moral guarantors. Now let's come to the tripartite, the output of Resolution 3. Resolution 3 is done. The output of Resolution 3 was a report that has a separate process. So I'm playing 2 roles here. Maybe that's the confusion, so let me step back. I'm the chief negotiator for the Agreement for National Unity. As chief negotiator for Agreement for National Unity, I am saying that 100% of the 8 resolutions in the Agreement for National Unity are done with evidence. Done. David Senge, Chief Minister, is also the chairman of the steering committee on the implementation of the tripartite. Now that's not 100% done yet. So within the...
What percentage would you give that?
Not me, the Secretariat.
You gave us 80% the last time.
So I think
are we still at 80%?
We're about that, yes. So now if we take the steering committee, it has 80 recommendations. Of those 80 recommendations, many of them had to do with public sector review. Many of them have to do with acts that are currently in review. And a lot of them have to do with the Constitution and election processes. The way you implement that is you take it to a bill and take it to Parliament. Now, let's be honest. That committee, their job was to make sure that the AG takes that bill to Parliament. Do you hold me as chief minister and the committee responsible for the parliamentary process and the process that it takes? No, that's not. It's not. It doesn't make sense to hold us responsible for what's going on in Parliament. So they conflate these issues.
But the president can be questioned.
No, we'll come there.
The president can be questioned on the sincerity of his commitment to the entire process when, again, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Ibrahim Tawa-Conte, is a member of the SLPP. He sat here and said, give and take, all goes well. By April of 2026, which is less than 2 months away, this process can be completed. So in the spirit of genuineness, really wanting to stay committed to the process, de-escalating the political tension, the question still remains, why didn't the president wait and allow that process to come to fruition, as opposed to now going to appoint a chairman for the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone?
The president, let me respond to her question.
I want to double down on that.
But I want to be specific to her question.
Yes, why is being specific, Mr. Let me just double down. And I'll ask this in Creole. Anything bad before happen if president waits until after these amendments go before he appoints? So
maybe my answer in Creole so that people can go understand. I don't meet nobody yet. We committed to the democracy of this country, and to this country better when I reach past President Bill. President Bill laying life for this country, yeah. He go Liberia fights for this country. President Bill fights na Lunge, fights na Cambia, fights na Pujong, fights na Kailaon for this country, yeah. And President Bill take this country, yeah, where people then they tell and say, all man knows the evidence they say may no hand over power inside 3 months. He take this country, yeah, he carry go be into money, he go start with the peace, and he hand over power as a young man. No sign of we don't see plenty. He hand over power, he left. And not Saturday, President Bill came after he win the election. Then say they know they go parliament, they know they participate. He set up committee. He decide on his own magnanimously because he care about unity. Because the country for don't continue. Because that's it. There's no path that allowed that we should have that process. He said when I go sit down. Why? 2007 election happened. APC win. SLPP win. We not review then constitution review law there. 2012, same palaver come inside there. Nobody not review the electoral law there. 2018, palaver hala been there. Nobody not review. 2023, same thing. He say no, he do so, bo. He say no, this he do so. Not so because I win, I for just say more continue. For once, make somebody say when I go sit down, when I go figure out how they done this process here, more review than they will need for review. They don't come out there. He don't sit down. He na a leader for this country here. Waiting important for either peace for the democracy for the fets not for the.
How so when the appointment is very controversial?
I talk. This he don't decide say na this nine for the. In your wisdom, leadership that from God they come out. In your wisdom, in your blessing with God give. He get one priority for make sure say any institution, ECSL included, is led by the most competent person.
But the opposition still says, the main opposition still says he's not the most competent, especially because they have an issue with him on an allegation that he had been involved in an election process that was not transparent and credible by manipulating figures according to their allegation.
When this same man was brought up 5 years ago, what was the opposition's position? They did not agree. They didn't like him. They resisted him. So do we expect that inside 5 years now, therefore, don't change? 5 years ago, before 2023 election, they did not approve. The point is the opposition, whose electoral commission are they? Where president consults for, where the opposition say, yes, we agree. I just want to know. The opposition, their mentality and their mindset is one in which they are in opposing of government by all things where governments they do, by most things where governments they do. And the president has decided, it don't look, not till one day it takes before he appoints this man here. Inside that 7 months, if you see what the president when they do, they look it they scan, it they study, it they ask questions there, it they engage with people there. It don't sit down, it don't look, it don't take all opinion. It don't consult with all man, and it don't say, for make me the election go fine, and for make me ECSL managing self, it take the most competent person, 20-year experience. Somebody who don't manage election at the regions, somebody who don't manage by-election, somebody who don't manage paramount chief election, somebody where now the tripartite report, the independent review of the steering of the ECSL required that their strategic plan is being developed, that all of this. Now, new person will not be nothing but salon election. Now, if we can for do this reform here or for can go carry go inside 2028, person will not be ECSL.
No other competent person or they
name one.
No, I'm asking you in governance. I'm not.
But the point is, if you are saying the president,
you have a pool of talent within the ECSL itself.
Name one. Give me,
Mr. Minister. You personally they talk with the power.
The president, in his wisest position, in his most informed position, has decided that Edmond Alpha is the most competent person. Now, we all don't have to agree with him. But in this case, if you they say, okay, APC don't want to suggest person, I just want to know no more.
Are you open to that suggestion if they are willing to sit down?
No, my point is this. It's not, no, there is no part of that. The president has that decision. There are other commissioners, by the way. People think this is like, done, take or 20. Other commissioners are going to be due in 1 year. Then sit down, then they plan waste time, they know they do this, and then they not pass whatever goes out of parliament. Whose method if the president go use in 1 year? Not to within the constitution. So things happen. There are new people who are going to be appointed. Whatever the constitution of the law says is what the president will use. In 1 year, 2 commissioners are going to be due. If the constitution has not changed in 1 year, and the president decides in his wisdom and consultation that he's going to keep those people or he's going to get anybody else, that's what he needs to do as a father of the nation. Whether they agree or they not agree, which I know they not agree because that they walk that day, is really, frankly, irrelevant.
So, Mr. Minister, in your estimation, you don't engage with leaders of the APC on several fronts. When it comes to the current disagreement, what do you think say go be okay for the APC? We then go agree, say, okay, we don't agree with the outcome of anything. In your estimation, I know you've dealt with them. Let's put away the banter, let's put away, the here and there, and then small talk them. In your estimation, what do you think say go suit them, or a government position where they will finally agree with?
I am a member of the SLPP. I am a senior member of the SLPP. Senior, I am the chairman of the Constitutional Review of SLPP. And I don't run the SLPP election internally. I know Sabinati where APC they do. I don't know their thinking. I don't engage. So I will not estimate for them. I don't know what their calculation is or calculus is. I don't know. I cannot put myself in their thinking, because my thinking is a progressive social democrat. As a progressive party member, if I was as a progressive party member, I will not walk out of parliament. As a progressive politician, I will sit and engage. As a progressive politician, I will not use homophobic slurs against any human. As a progressive politician, I will not subject a man or anybody and use a derogatory term against women for coarse man, for say they clap like man. As a progressive social democrat, I won't do that. So my thinking, my brain set does not match their brain set. I don't understand their brain set. My brain set is a progressive social democrat. So I don't know what they want.
How do you think this will play out now that there is a chair of the Electoral Commission, and then if we get to that point where the constitutional amendment is done, leading us to getting now the committee, how would this play out? I
don't know the outcome of the constitutional amendment. Exactly. That's the point. We cannot be hypothetical. We're not going to make a decision on hypothesis.
But there hasn't been any contention on either sides of the representation in Parliament on that particular aspect.
They have not started the debate yet. They have not even started any
in the
debate.
well.
They have
but
not.
from the media, we've had both sides, the APC and the SLPP, in interviews.
They have not debated
None
it
have
yet.
mentioned a position to say, as a party, we are not in support of this particular portion of it.
Did you ask them that specifically?
But none of them have said they're not in support of
But
it.
you didn't ask them specifically. Ask them, and then you'll see what they say. And then let's wait to see them.
So
in
what if
Parliament.
it gets to that point?
Then
it's
we'll
approved.
be happy.
Then what?
Then President Bio will be happy to follow the law. President Bio, as the most law-abiding person, will say, "Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I will now use the new law, which is in the Constitution, that says it should be Committee A, B, C, D, and I'm so happy to honor it." That's what President Bio will do.
There are people who are a bit confused in trying to figure out this particular decision by the president, trying to understand if this is genuinely being done in the interest of the country, or from a position of ego to say, I am the president, the fountain of honor, the opposition doesn't tell me what to do.
By the way, we don't tell fountain of honor that they have ego, and I know you didn't mention the use of the word ego as an adjective, but just the meaning. I think that it is from a position of country. And let me say this again. President Bio took 7 months to sit, reflect, ask questions, engage, discuss, listen. And his one question he was asking is that, who is the most competent person I can appoint as a ECSL chair that will lead to a fair, credible, transparent, non-confrontational, seamless election in 2028? That's the question that, as a leader of this country, he was asking. And he took 7 months. 7 months. If I don't appoint somebody the 1 month after, he took 7 months to sit and reflect. Do you know what's going to happen in 2 years, 2.5 years? It's election. Do you know when they need to begin to order ballot boxes and things? 1 year from now. Do we know when they need to develop a strategic plan and procurement plan that leads to the ordering of those ballot boxes? It's yesterday. So, because President Bio cares for this country in 2028, that's why he brought the most competent person who is able to, from yesterday, begin to make the strategic plan, to the procurement plans, to other products that will be here in the year, so that elections will happen peacefully in 2 years. That is the man who cares for the country.
Now, coming back to, it's still connected to the election situation. The main opposition, APC, is also saying now they're even concerned about the census process with the way it's going, and they're making allegations that these are all deliberate efforts and attempts by the SLPP.
What's their specific concern?
By the SLPP.
What's their specific concern?
They're saying that the cartographic mapping is not
about the cartographic
so
mapping?
They're saying the ECSL should not even use the 2021
Statistics
data
Sierra Leone's equitable proportion distribution of those.
Can I just make the points that I'm making? Thank you. That the Statistics Sierra Leone should not use the 2021 data because it was challenged, it's flawed, and Statistics Sierra Leone is insisting that that's what they would use. They're saying statistics should go by the 2015 data. And they're still questioning because 2021 says Kenema is more populated than Freetown. They argue that is not the case. It's an evidence of how flawed the data was for 2021. And they're saying it's intentionally done by the SLPP just to overpopulate their strongholds and depopulate their own strongholds.
The unfortunate part in all of this is APC doesn't learn, and it's unfortunate because it affects the country. I want a good, credible opposition so we can all get better, but they don't learn. They removed themselves from the census in 2021 actively, and we saw that. And the consequence of removing themselves actively and jeopardizing that is some of the issues that they are raising. Now they are removing themselves again from a constitutional review process that has been ongoing for 20 years. And when it will go through, then they'll come and sit and complain again to say, oh, we were not part of the table. That's one. They don't learn. I hope that their citizens, their members, tell them to say, when I go sit down at Parliament, when I go work for we. These Boku complain, they do so. But they don't learn. They don't learn that not being in the room, they don't learn that throwing and saying things does not help.
Oh, Honorable Abdul Kabo said it's an instruction from their party supporters. That's
well,
what
Honorable
the people
Abdul
want.
Kabo is the one who said, if I catch anybody, like say na school picking they get, I go discipline her. Now I ain't talk that day. You na MP, you na you. So I don't think saying citizen then they tell her and say, may go tell people and say if he catch anybody. So that's his own issue and that's his own people that he has to deal with. But on census, madam, there is a committee that meets. And APC has a representation that meets there. So all this, they come and do grants. Maybe they don't close the ranks. There's an APC member in the census committee, inter-party sense liaison committee. Then they meet. Then they go there, madam. How APC member go don't go per meeting? Say they can't go begin complain other side. In the census, they are there. In ECSL, there is an inter-party committee. They show up. They are in the meetings. So it's something is wrong. It's either that the people who they send are not competent enough, or that the people who they send do not report back to the people who send them, or the people who send them do not say it back to the leadership of the party. That's not for me to know. That's for them to know. But there's something I want the APC to understand. They have a responsibility to the citizens of this country. They owe it to their members to participate. If you don't participate, you cannot raise your hand up to say, we didn't participate. I'll give an example. It's the African Cup of Nations Cup final. Senegal versus Morocco. There was a decision. Senegal vexed. When they play this game again, then come out. Senegal went into the hall. There was a leader, Mane. Mane went and told his people, we feel aggrieved by this decision, but we would go play this ball here. We then go play not to then win. I want there to be a Mane in APC. Somebody will get conscience. We're not afraid. The coach and all the people. The coach later apologized, by the way.
Do you see Mohamed Bangura, Honorable Mohamed Bangura, as that person?
Mohamed Bangura, Thompson, and many others. By the way, APC MP, then they call me, then they say, Mr. Minister, you know, National na big with the big. APC MP, then they call me. Yesterday, said, two call me. But I'm not going to say their names. They don't agree with their leadership. Player than they, like Mane. Player than they want for play. But I want me Mane, me Mohamed, me listen and then captain. So I'm saying, because the other captain don't look, Mane ain't been the captain, or not been the captain. I know if Nine been, but a good player. I want me then get an equivalent of that. They would go meet them inside the dressing room and tell them, say, we not agree you with that decision they would the ref take. And VAR. But we would go play. Because now this is not fair play. And then more go play, more see if we go win.